Okay.
Welcome to Love Heals Cancer and ZenOnco.io. I'm Astha from ZenOnco.io. This is our cancer healing journey talks where we invite speakers who have gone through cancer, maybe as a patient, caregiver, or survivor. These CHAs are very close to our hearts because many people tell us that when we listen to other people's journeys, it inspires them and it also helps them boost their confidence and gives them hope that if others have been able to defeat the disease and fight with it, then why can't they? So thank you so much for joining us today for the cancer healing journey talks. And could you introduce yourself and tell us how it all began?
Yeah, I'm Asha Rodrigues, and I think I went through the journey of cancer with my husband, whose name is Asha Rodrigues, and I think this journey started around 2020 when the COVID actually, the lockdowns started, and because of the lockdown, maybe or maybe it's destiny. Um, he was feeling a pain, and we thought it's because of the constant sitting and no movement. Of course we didn't go to the doctor because hospitals were not taking patients as before, so it also increased and maybe it aggravated the cancer and late detection. And then when we finally went, it was around August 2020 when COVID norms were a little lifted, and the doctor suggested a quick surgery, but cancer was not detected yet. He thought it was an kind of a bacterial infection or something, and he gave some antibiotics for 1 week, but it didn't go. The pain didn't go away, and doctor said, "Let's do a surgery and let's see." And when he finally did that, he I think understood that it was not a normal infection. This was something big. And that time, I guess the doctor told me that let's do a biopsy of this. And when the biopsy report came around in October, then we were completely like shattered. I couldn't understand the report initially because it was not directly written. It was lot of sarcoma, um, medical terms which I have read before, but it was too confusing for me. Then I think the doctor prescribed us to a bigger hospital because this was almost stage 3 cancer. And the survival, when I read it in Google, initially it was only 5 years. So that was kind of a very heartbreaking for both of us. But I guess my husband was still very positive, very, very positive, I would say. I don't think I've seen anybody deal with that kind of situation in such a positive manner. And then we finally went to the Kokilaben Hospital in Mumbai, and doctor said that this was a simple cancer which basically turned out to be uh, a lethal one because you didn't come on time. It was mainly the COVID that maybe I told you it's destiny, maybe. And then he did the operation quickly within 1 week, and he removed the lymph nodes where the cancer had spread. And the operation was quite painful for him. And then I think it healed within 2 weeks, but lymphedema started because the lymph nodes were no longer there in the legs. So all those things, and then finally we did the scan again. So doctor said we need to do chemotherapy, at least 4 chemotherapy. Then we started the chemotherapies, and then we do a PET scan again in if there is any decrease of the cancer. But I think we were still, I was not thinking more uh, worse. I was always positive that, and he was also equally positive. So each chemotherapy we used to do, but each one was equally painful. With, I think by the fourth, he had lost quite a lot of weight and of course hair as well. And then I was hoping that the cancer would be at least stage 2 or stage 1. But in March when the scan results came, it was it. I think the cancer was worse than before. It spread to the bones as well. So it's entered actually stage 4. And then I don't think all the doctors, whomsoever we went, they had lost hope that this cancer, we cannot contain it. It cannot be cured, is what they say. They can't. It can be prevented, or not prevented, I would say. You can go through radiations or chemotherapies on, and maybe delay their lives or delay the cancer taking your life. But it was very clear that it's not a usual or normal life that you are going to live now. And then I guess we started radiotherapy, Ayurveda, homeopathy. We tried everything that was available anywhere. And then I think the COVID lockdowns began again in April. It was quite difficult to, go to hospitals with the COVID situation also. But I think God was there with us. For some time, we were never infected with COVID, even though we were just near the COVID ward, wherever the hospitals were. So finally, I guess in April, May, he was a little better with only the oral medications, oral chemo kind of medicines. Then we went to Tata and we started oral and immunotherapy also for some instance, getting his gene sequencing. And then I think the doctor there also said that I don't think there is much hope now. And I think in July, he went through another operation. And I guess that was the worst one. After that, that was the last time he came back home walking. And then I think within 10 days, he passed. But it was a very painful journey.
Yeah. This journey, is so shattering at times, and
Yeah.
really, it's
I was surprised within 9 months, a person can change from a healthy to just bare bones and no life. Such a devastating disease. I think it's mainly torture, slow death, I would say, going through hell, nothing else.
right. And, not only to the patients, but the caregivers, who's caregiving.
Yeah,
Um, it's such a big challenge to them as well, because they're the one who's taking, care of everything, the one who's handling everything. So, it's so much tough for them as well.
yeah, because it's also physically you are tested to take care of the patient. You're physically exhausted, you're mentally exhausted, you're emotionally exhausted. It's uh, it's very worse, and you're thinking about future, like what lies next. And if you have
Mhm.
children, it's all the more difficult.
Definitely, it's very much difficult at that time.
Yeah, yeah.
But what we can say, this is life, acceptance.
I think I also didn't accept it after his death, even. He accepted his own disease maybe 20 days before he died. He didn't accept it. I think I accepted it after maybe 1 year after his death, 1.5 year, maybe. It's just few months that I've accepted that he's finally known.
Yes, but you're so brave. You're, such a true warrior that went through all of that, and now you're here again, and you're fighting everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
life
so
goes on.
right, exactly. So,
And I think
yes,
it's difficult for people to live than to die, I sometimes feel.
very true. That's very true. After going through all this, it is very, very difficult.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so like I wanted to ask, like, did he have any family history in cancer, or any pre-existing comorbidities?
Nothing. He was a healthy 30s. He was detected cancer in 35 when he was 35. He used to do exercise, run. He had a very healthy body. I think in normal annual checkup, nothing used to, yeah, it was all normal. But suddenly a pain, and it was skin cancer, which was like, I do not know whether it gets detected in the normal test as well. that's the problem, your normal tests mainly contain the heart, the blood, the cholesterol, glucose, all those lifestyle diseases, more than this kind of cancer screening, which is very specific. And I don't think anybody does that in India unless they have doubt that something is wrong.
Right. Like I have also, heard in many cases, that if someone, feels anything, they go to the doctor. So, no, right now the situation is not like, they do not recommend for further tests. They just say, okay, this must be a simple problem. They just,
Yeah.
give the medications to, manage it. But, it should be like they should, go for more and more tests, more and more screenings to to understand the root cause of the issue that is the issue that they're facing. It is very, very important.
And I think the financial burden that the family has to go through is enormous. It
Right.
is it is not possible by a simple uh, or a simple family who is, have one person working. If it's very difficult, I would say it was manageable for me. I think I would be, what you say, thankful for that. But when I see back, lot of patients, it might not be manageable, not possible.
Definitely. I've seen so many patients, struggling. Not everybody has, the proper resources, the proper support.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
right.
Even in my case, the doctor was suggesting immunotherapy, which would cost like almost 50 lakhs or 1 crore. And then I
Okay.
asked the doctor, how much chance do I have? He said, less than 1%. And then I said, less than 1%, do you want me really to do that? Doctor said, if I were you, I wouldn't do it. So I said, that there is no point. I,
Right.
it's difficult to choose also, but at least I have the contentment in my heart that I did everything that was possible at that time. If there is no money at my hand, I wouldn't have that contentment or that non-guilt thing that would, or he would have been, we would have saved him if I have done a chemotherapy. Some people don't even have money for that. So I think
Exactly.
that guilt should not be with anybody that he has not tried enough. And I think for that, finance is a very important point.
Right, definitely. Everybody should understand. Many people, go in guilt that we should have done this, we should have done that. But, they don't realize that, yes, they did everything that they could. So it's very
Yeah.
important for them to, accept that thing. Right. So, like, I also wanted to ask, like, what all lifestyle changes, did he make, like, during his treatment?
He was actually a foodie, I would say, and therefore it was very difficult for him to accept a different kind of food. So what we did was mainly vegetarian. We stopped all the meat and sugar. I think that was the first thing that I read everywhere. But it was only after chemotherapy that, or when his cancer spread, that I got into this diet thing. I think diet should be the first way, and doctors don't focus more on this diet thing. And I was surprised when I did my own research, because initially you trust the doctor so much that you think like whatever the doctor is doing is the best. He was given, um, I think, a thali every day after the operation or chemo, which has dessert, which had everything like a normal person. And when I look back, it's like the sugar, he shouldn't even eat that, because it's mainly when the cancer multiplies, he needs glucose. That cancer requires glucose, and sugar is the easiest form of that to get in. So we cut down the sugar thing, we cut down the the red meat completely, only fish, and then vegetables and juices often, grapes in the morning, and then dragon fruit. I used to give him a lot. uh, he used to not like it. He couldn't taste anything because after chemo, I think the taste completely goes off. And then he used to just eat for the sake of eating it, or because I am giving him. Uh, But yeah, I think the patient should be ready to do anything in his power or anything he could to get out of this disease. It's not only going through these chemo sessions, it should be everything, going on a walk. We used to go for a walk every morning. Every morning he used to get up. He couldn't walk properly, but I used to, make him walk slowly to get some fresh air outside. And we used to go early morning because I think he was too skeptical on what people would think he didn't have hair anymore. And we moved uh, to a new place during the chemo so that he don't get those looks and stares of people. He was, and I think in a way COVID helped that because there were no people around much. I feel God did that purposefully. uh, so yeah, we used to go for walks early mornings before the sun rises. That also used to keep him quite, you know but I feel he cut down all contacts with his friends and all because he didn't want his friends to see him like this. But he shouldn't have done that, I still feel, because when you talk to your friends, you really feel good.
That's very true. Like these days, we try to educate more and more, patients and caregivers on this thing that, the thing that after chemotherapy, they lose the hair on, or they lose a lot of weight, their looks change. So it will come back. It will definitely come back. So, they should not, but we can only, tell them the exact thing they are only feeling. But, we should definitely try to make them understand that these are going to come back. And you shouldn't be very very sad about this. You shouldn't cut off with everyone just because of this thing, that you are not looking good, and or if you are changed so much. So it is very very important to talk your heart out. You should talk to
Yeah,
more and more people.
this is mainly a part of acceptance. He
Right.
was not ready to accept it. He accepted it just 20 days before his death, when he totally, you know he just cracked down. He basically, I think his something broke from his inner core. He was shattered. And that time is when he accepted, but that was too late. He couldn't even speak after that. He was continuous in the vomiting, all those things in which he knew he wouldn't survive now.
Right. And like in fact, the thing that you said in the beginning about the nutrition part, the food part, it is very very important to
Hello?
take care. Yeah, am I audible, ma'am? Hi. Am I audible?
Hello? Now your this got stuck for some time. That's it.
Oh, okay, okay. Now is it fine?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just saying that, the thing that you told about nutrition and food, it is very, very important to manage. It's not only the medical treatment that you're taking, but overall, in a holistic way, you should take care, especially of your diet. And the thing that you told, that in hospital, they used to give everything to all the patients. So it should not be like that. And, we are definitely, doctors and, hospital management should definitely work on this, that they should not give these things, desserts, and sugar is definitely not at all good for the patients. And they should cut down on sugar and refined and processed foods,
Yes.
everything. Right. In fact, good food helps in managing the side effects as well, and
Yeah.
increasing the efficacy of treatments. It plays a very very important role. So it is very important to manage. Right. So, like, I wanted to ask, what were your learnings, as a caregiver from your entire journey?
I guess the first learning was mainly you have to try to accept what's going on, because I was in a trance mode. I didn't understand what is real and what is happening. Is it real, or my previous life or a life before few months was real? I, and I think you should seek help. That is one thing. You should seek a psychologist or a psychiatrist or friends or whomsoever, because I did not tell this to my parents. I was not. maybe because of the COVID, because they couldn't travel to my place. So I did not want the pressure to mount on them to think what's happening here. So I just told it's a normal operation. We we spoke to my parents only after the scan in March, which was almost like 4 5 months after the full chemo treatment, everything. I think that was the worst thing. If I had somebody, I did everything alone. I feel you should take as many people with your journey as possible. True, good friends that you are comfortable with, your family or your friends, because that helps you a lot. Seek help, seek support whenever you need, uh, and then be ready for emotional outburst from the patient, because my husband used to have a lot of emotional outburst, uh, which was shocking for me as well. But I think when I look back, even I would have done the same. Anybody would have done the same, given that within a short span you are going to die so young, so many dreams to fulfill, yet you don't have time, you know. So that's that's I think, seek help, I would say, in whatever manner it is possible. It's not mandatory for you to do it all alone, I feel.
This is one very very important point to focus on. Patients these days, matlab, patients say that they never focus on their mental well-being, their emotional health. They're like, yeah, we are completely fine, and or we don't know this, we don't need this support. But it is very very important for them to talk to a counselor,
Yes.
let their emotions out, everything whatever they feel, because they definitely help them overcome the stress, the anxiety that they are having during the treatment. And even the caregivers, not only the patients, but it takes a toll on the caregiver as well. So it is very very important for the caregivers and patients both to seek support. Even if they don't want to talk to a counselor, they can definitely help, like take help from a friend, from their family member. It is very very important.
Yeah.
Right. In fact, cancer support groups are very, very helpful these days. When we see other people who are going through the same journey, we understand, okay, we are not alone in this. Other people are also experiencing, and, we also learn from their experiences.
Exactly. Yes. And it also depends upon the nature of the person. My husband was an introvert kind of person, so he didn't like much to go into this kind of groups and all this. He was not at all comfortable. He used to be more stressed out. So it depends upon patient to patient, but you should have somebody to talk to, I would say. One person is also enough, but at least find that person and talk to. It might not be just your wife or your husband, your closest. No, it can be your friend, which is from school that you were so comfortable with. It can be your mother, it can be your father, it can be your brother, sister, whatever. So whomsoever you're comfortable with, just talk and vent it out. My husband till the end did not talk, and I have a huge grudge in my this, like, why didn't he just not speak his heart out to somebody?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so I wanted to ask, like, what message would you like to give to cancer caregivers and cancer patients?
Cancer caregivers, I guess, I think it's the most difficult job, I would say, but I think it is written, or it has been given to you because you're capable of it. So believe that you will do it, and then take care of the patient as much as possible by you, I would say, but never feel that you have not done enough. You have done enough at that time, in that situation, according to your capability. I feel if you have this feeling, then you will not feel the guilt. And caregivers should never feel guilty, because they will do it from their heart for the patient. So, no guilt feeling of you have done less or you have done the best. To the patient, I would say the journey is very tough, and you're yourself stronger to go through this journey, and you will have to be very positive, really positive. Seek help in whatsoever manner, and seek help from even your employer, tell to the employer, and find time with your family. Whatever time you have, spend quality time with your family, I would say.
Right, this was such a helpful message, and it was really nice. And first of all, I would, really thank you for, sharing your journey, and you shared your experiences, you shared your learnings, and I'm sure that it will help so many cancer patients, caregivers, and as well as survivors out there. And I just wish you all the best
Thank you.
for the future. And once again, thank you so much for sharing the journey with us.
Thank you, Asta.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am.